Hey guys, before we start the show, I want to tell you I'm running a little contest. Go to johnsarcade.com to enter a raffle. That's right, guys. I'm giving away 3 John's Arcade prize packages. Each package will contain a John's Arcade t-shirt, a signed Kill Screens CD, and some John's Arcade branded parts kits. That's right, from iankellogg.com. We've got 20 EZs, 4900s, Geo7s. Each of these kits contain the highest quality components. And so if you guys want to win this stuff, go to johnsarcade.com and enter the raffle. You have until about February 15th. And then also during this time, if you go to iankellogg.com, you can take 10% off your entire order using coupon code JOHNSARCADE. That's right, go to iankellogg.com to order your John's Arcade branded kits and also other rebuild kits. He's got everything on his site and really great customer service. 10% off until about February 15th using coupon code JOHNSARCADE. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, we're gonna do a John's Arcade, well, I guess kind of a tech and a product review video. And again, we're not gonna do it alone because I have someone kind of special here. Warren, this is Warren Andress, right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
And Warren, you are involved with Matt Ownsby, right? Ownsby, sorry. And Matt, of course, created Daphne. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Right.
Which is an emulator for LaserDisc games. It's kind of the MAME of LaserDisc games. Is that right?
Exactly.
Do you like Daphne?
Yeah. It's a good,
Are there any
Daphne the program or Daphne the character?
The emulator. I mean, I have the original LaserDisc player over here, and a lot of guys always say, "Hey, screw that original hardware. Just put Daphne in there." Do you like that idea?
Not if you can make the hardware work.
I agree, right?
I'm both a purist and kind of pragmatic.
Right.
I love to keep the old stuff running. Even if if a control panel is scratched up, but it's original, I'll keep it.
I agree.
Versus getting an overlay. So so I love that. But at some point, you get one that's too far gone, or you just want to,
or you just have an empty cabinet, right? And there's nothing there. A lot of guys will buy Dragon's Lairs that were converted to who knows what, and everything's gone, right? But they want to make it a Dragon's Lair, so Daphne's a great solution for that, right? And so, are you directly involved in Daphne with Matt, or?
I have been. I mean, I've contributed code to it over the years. I did the Mach 3 driver originally.
You did?
Many years ago now. So,
what was the most challenging game in Daphne, you think, to get working?
The first one, Dragon's Lair.
Oh, the first one?
But, had a lot of contributions from various people over the years.
Right.
So everybody kind of got in and did their part of it.
Awesome. So Daphne was a software solution, right? To get these games to work. And now you guys have kind of gone to the next level here, and you have a hardware solution, right? That emulates this is part Daphne, right? This is some of Daphne right here. Is that right? And by the way, this is the Dexter board, guys, which is a LaserDisc player emulator?
LaserDisc player replacement.
Replacement.
You could say.
Okay. And is there Daphne code in here?
Not directly. There's some of the LaserDisc player interpreter stuff is very similar.
Right.
But there's no actual CPU emulation or any of that. I mean, part of the goal of it is you keep the game completely original, except for the LaserDisc player. That's the only thing you're replacing. So you literally just unplug your dead or dying or missing player,
and you plug this in,
and you're good to go.
And this thing will simulate or emulate. What's the right word? Is emulate a good word?
It's kind of in between.
It's some in between.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is this like FPGA where it's like 1-to-1, or is it just it's just kind of?
It's a microcontroller.
It's a microcontroller?
That does the I/O.
Okay.
Basically, so I guess you could say emulates the I/O of the original player.
Right, and this can do multiple players, not just the Pioneers. It can do the Philips and
Sony and Hitachi and multiple Pioneer players.
And so basically the idea here is like, okay, I have my Firefox in the garage right now. That works, except the LaserDisc player doesn't work. The game's running, you can see the CPU graphics and all that, but there's no background because my player's dead. And Franz has had the thing for like a year, and who knows if I'll ever get it back. So if we plug this thing in there, this will replace the original Philips player, which is impossible to find, right? And you load up, the LaserDisc image on here on an SD card? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's got a custom video file that's basically just a sequence of video frames.
Okay.
That then the main board tells the Pi which frame to display at which time.
Right,
So
right.
It can jump to any frame you want, anytime, forwards or backwards, which is necessary for
Right.
some of the more complex
And the
games.
the CPU is telling it what to do. It's telling it to go to that frame or that whatever, right?
Right.
The game's still controlling this.
Right. So the game says, play frame 3200. This responds back the way the original player would, saying, okay, I'm at frame 3200, and it tells the Pi display frame 3200 and then 3201 and 3202.
Right.
And goes forward from there.
So can you help me understand, like, how did this come about, and what's the hardware based on? Because I see we have a Raspberry Pi up here on the top, and then on the bottom board is obviously the board you guys created, right?
Right. Well, actually, let me take a step back.
Okay.
Show you a little bit of history.
How long has this been in development, Warren?
I looked it up, and Matt's first experiments were hooking up a modified version of Daphne through the parallel port to his Dragon's Lair machine in 2009.
Oh, really? So that long?
This is about 7 years in the making.
Wow.
But
And by the way, where can people order this and find more information? What's the website?
the website is LaserDisc-replacement.com.
Okay, so LaserDisc-replacement.com, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and we'll be giving away some coupon codes later. I'll tell you guys how you can get $20 off John's Arcade viewers, right? Because Matt sent those over this morning. So anyway, let's go on. So Matt, so this has been going on for about 7 years. And how did it start out?
Well,
Is this a prototype?
This is the first hardware iteration.
Okay. Let's take a look here.
Gives you an idea of some of the basics of it. This is basically just a microcontroller, some video timing circuitry, a serial port, and some video pass-through jacks.
Okay.
And
So it started out pretty simple, right?
Yeah. This could only do LDV 1000. You needed a full PC to use with it.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, it didn't. There's no video on it.
Right.
You just pass your.
So you'd have to
PC
plug this
video
into your
through.
PC, and then it would read the video file from the PC, and then throw it here to the monitor. Is that right?
All it's doing here is it's just picking up the timing, so it knows how to stay in sync with the frames coming from the computer. It's just.
Oh, is that
the
right?
video from the computer comes in, it picks up the timing, and it sends it back out. It doesn't.
No kidding.
So
does this work?
it did the last time I tried it. I haven't hooked up that PC for.
Right.
We made this board in 2011, so.
That's cool.
it's,
And so it started like this, and then what you guys just kept branching out, wanting it to have more compatibility and also not have a PC, right?
Right.
Is that where the Raspberry Pi comes in?
So that's phase 3 of the story, I guess.
Okay.
Phase 2 is about a year after that. This is dated December 2011, so basically 2012. We did a Rev 2 of the Dexter hardware, and the idea was to add support for additional players. It's got a multi-function port that does the Sonys and the Philips. It's got a port for the PR8210 for Cliffhanger and Mach 3. And it's a similar arrangement. It's just, it's got more hardware.
Can I show everybody?
Absolutely.
So this one added more support for more players, essentially.
This was really our sort of test bed development board for several years.
And this still requires a PC?
It did at first, but actually this predated the Raspberry Pi. So,
Okay.
So and you can see over the years the hardware experiment.
So what's your background, by the way?
I'm a software developer by trade.
Okay.
But I've been doing electronic stuff for longer than I can remember.
Is that right?
And repairing arcade games for
Ever?
15, 20 years.
And this board here, did you make this yourself, or did Matt help you, or?
Matt was kind of the primary designer of the hardware. I helped with various aspects of it.
Okay.
And we would come up with problems, and I would come up with solutions for certain things. One of my favorite things that I was able to help with is this port has 3 different types of connections on it.
Okay.
It just looks like a regular serial port, but it's actually got 2 kinds of serial communication. Normally, if you only have one kind, you need a null modem adapter for certain connections. And then this also has the Philips parallel on it. And so you've got multiple types of signals running different voltage levels and things on the same port. And the initial sort of obvious way of designing it was, well, you put 2 ports on. You put one on for the serial and you use a no modem adapter if you need it, and you put one on for the Philips, and everything's fine. But I very much wanted it to be plug and play, so you didn't have to know which port to plug it in or set jumpers or anything like that. So through some perseverance and looking up a lot of data sheets, we managed to figure out how to get all those things on one port.
Awesome.
So just by changing the mode in software, it configures the port correctly.
And then right here, is this the different players it supports? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So on each, you can do a close-up photo.
Yeah. So it says LDP 1000, VP 9. Are these little jumpers here that you would?
Those are LEDs.
Oh, they're LEDs.
There's no jumpers.
Oh, okay.
That was an important requirement for us because jumpers suck.
So those are LEDs, and it would light showing which ones it's emulating. Is that right? Okay.
Right. So all you do is you push the mode button.
Oh, I see.
Until you get to the one that you want.
Oh, that's slick. But now it's automatic, or no? Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we can get into that. It's mostly automatic. But
yeah.
You can set it manually or override it if you want.
So this board, the second version, still needed a PC, but I'm taking it at some point you made the leap to a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, and you can see the mods on here for it.
Right.
Basically, can now get video input from the Pi and the right I/O connection to go to the Pi. And we made a tiny little daughter board that fits on, which I don't think I have with me, but this was the first one to work with the Pi.
And the Pi's role again in this is to play the video?
It actually ends up doing several things. Its main purpose in life is that it gets commands saying display this frame, and it outputs the video.
Okay.
Rather than rolling our own video
decoder or whatever
and all that, which it's very complicated. It's actually sort of cheaper and more capable to just use the Pi.
Right.
That. And sort of secondary to that, it gives it a way to do easy updates and configuration, and there's a network port, so you can actually plug it into your router, get a VPN connection, and that will let Matt or myself get in and see the logs and see what's happening. So,
super cool.
So if you can get an Ethernet cable to it, we can see in real time what's happening.
So if we installed a USB Wi-Fi dongle on here, could we have high score leaderboards online? How come that's not in here?
It doesn't know about high scores because that's
it doesn't.
Oh,
true. Okay, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
It's just a slave to the video.
Yeah. That's really its whole purpose, and
right.
We could potentially replace it with a dedicated video-only device, but it would cost more and it would do less.
Right.
At this point, it didn't make sense.
Okay, so you had the second version. I take it this was...
we realized we needed an extra signal in the video for some of the PR8210 games.
Okay.
Like Cliffhanger and Us versus Them.
Yep.
They actually read a signal in the sort of the hidden part of the video signal that tells it what frame it's on.
Oh, really?
Because they didn't use industrial players. They just took an off-the-shelf consumer player, wired in a remote control, and used frame decoder hardware that would pick up the signal from all LaserDiscs have a frame number signal encoded into them.
Okay.
It's part of the standards. So by making a little piece of hardware that strips that off, they can tell what frame the LaserDisc is on. So there's no two-way communication between the player. The player doesn't say, "Okay, I'm on this frame." It's just a dumb player. It's literally the same as pressing buttons on a remote. That's how Cliffhanger and Mach 3 and those.
Okay.
And
is Dragon's Lair? I mean, people always joke that Dragon's Lair is just a movie that you control with a joystick. Is there logic in there? Like you said that Mach 3 is just literally pushing the buttons on a remote. Is Dragon's Lair a little more complicated than that?
It is more complicated than that. It gets status back to know exactly where the player is, and it does some more complicated things with that. Like it can sort of jump into the middle of a scene in some cases, or it can kind of skip over part of a scene and things.
Oh, really?
Like that. It doesn't do a lot of that, but it has some capability for that.
Right.
And you need that two-way communication for that. The other problem with the remote control signal is it's very slow. It takes it like a second to do the equivalent of...
It's a wired remote, though?
Wired or wireless, actually. It depends on the game.
Really?
Cliffhanger came both ways. The wiring harness, you could either get a plug on it or...
an IR blaster?
IR blaster, yeah.
No kidding.
I think...
So inside the game, there's an IR blaster pointing at the player?
Yes. Yes, there is.
Oh my God, that is kludgy.
With a bracket and everything.
That is so kludgy.
The reason they did that is it worked with a player, the LD1100,
Yep.
which did not have a remote control jack. It was, pure consumer. All it had was an infrared.
I see.
On the front, and they made it work with that. So the upside for them was, hey, great, we get this consumer level player. It's a lot cheaper. We can do enough with it to make it work. The downside is it's a consumer level player. It's not going to hold up in the arcade.
Right, right.
A lot of those things, they broke down even faster than the industrial ones.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, this was some of the games that use that player. They need to read this frame number out of the video signal. The Raspberry Pi can't produce it, so we made a little auxiliary board that would inject, called the VBI injector, which adds that signal.
Okay,
and,
I gotcha.
That brings us to today.
So now all of that with the video injector thing, it's all on here, right?
Yeah, that's all. So for the final rev, Matt worked very hard to reduce the footprint as much as possible.
Yep.
For cost reasons as well as just sort of convenience. But this has kind of the culmination of all of that stuff on it. So it's got the VBI injector, it's got the sync separator, it's got the serial port drivers. It actually has, for the PR8210, I was saying, sometimes it used a remote jack and sometimes it used infrared. This actually has ports for both. You've got a remote jack and an infrared sensor. You can put it in front of the little blaster.
Really? Yeah, I noticed that. So you could still use the infrared with this?
Yeah, so if you have a cabinet, a cliffhanger that's wired with infrared, you don't have to modify it. You just...
No kidding. So you just put that right in the right spot, and then that infrared will send this thing the signals and tell it what to play?
Yep.
Wow, that's neat. And so how many games does this thing support? It's a long list, right? It's almost all of them.
It depends on what you consider a game. I mean, the American Laser games that use the Sony player, there's about 10 of those.
Okay. And so does it support all the, like Mad Dog McCree, like stuff like that?
Mad Dog McCree.
Like it supports that.
It supports all of those.
And it supports all the Sterns.
That either counts as one game. Yeah. One game hardware ALG, or it counts as 10 games depending on.
Right. Well, let's call it 10 games. It's 10 games, right?
Yeah.
With a similar, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, obviously very similar hardware, right? Supports both of those.
Yeah.
And will it also emulate the different players that Dragon's Lair might have? Like if you had a Merlin board, we'll do that. All right, so let's back up a little bit. I want to talk about this a little bit with the Merlin board and all of that. So, and also there is some confusion about what this does, right? And when you bring Merlin into the conversation, I think people get even more confused, right? So we have to think of this purely as a LaserDisc replacement, player replacement, right? Only, right? This thing doesn't have any logic or can't switch ROMs or any of that stuff, right?
If you look at it, you've got audio and video jacks and then a control port. Depending on the game, you use one of the different control ports. So you're literally just unplugging the player, plugging this in.
Right.
That's all this
So there's no program ROMs on here, none of that code's on here. It's just the LaserDisc video data, right? And then so if you look at Dragon's Lair, so I have my Dragon's Lair over there, I have a Merlin card in there, right? And right now it's playing Space Ace because the Merlin card allows me to load that code, those game program ROMs. And then I also have an LDV 8000 Pioneer in there, which is an upgraded player because mine came with 1000, right? So Merlin right now, when I turn my Dragon's Lair on, there's an on-screen menu that says, hey, which game code do you want to load, right? Dragon's Lair Enhanced, or Space Ace, right? And I tell it to load Space Ace because I have that disc in there right now. Because normally you could not play Space Ace in an off-the-shelf Dragon's Lair, right? So if I have my Merlin card and I leave it in there, will this thing pretend to be the LDV 8000?
Unfortunately, no. It does not. It
will not
do LDV 8000. It does LDV 1000.
Does Merlin work with the 1000?
There's two different versions of Merlin.
Okay.
And you'd have to talk to Sean Wood. It's his product.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you can probably sort of cross-grade from one to the other.
Okay. Okay.
I think...
I want to bring this up because I think this is confusing to a lot of people. It's even confusing to me because you got Merlin and Dexter, and everybody wants to know how they're going to work together because that is a nice end game here. If we could have an on-screen menu where we select Space Ace or Dragon's Lair and it loads either one of those video discs, right? Is that the ultimate goal?
That is exactly the goal. Actually, Matt and Sean are both working on their respective parts of that.
Yeah.
Right now. That's a high priority for both of them.
Okay.
So, it's not done today. We're hoping it'll be at least demoable before the pre-order for Dexter is
okay.
up.
And by the way, you guys have till the end of February to pre-order one of these, right?
Right.
And then when that pre-order closes, is that it? Are they going to make more after that, or who knows? No one knows.
Sure.
No one
Depends
knows.
on how many get ordered.
Right.
You know what the quantity, the prices look like.
Okay.
You know, I can't promise
Right.
another run or there'll be extras.
But if you get one of these and you have the Merlin board like I do, the hope is that sometime in the foreseeable future here, it's going to support the LDV 8000, and you'll be able to have Space Ace and Dragon's Lair in the same cabinet, right?
Yeah, actually, the plan is Dragon's Lair Space Ace
And Dragon's Lair 2.
And Dragon's Lair 2 enhancement that Dave Halleck just put together.
Right.
So you'll be able to run all of those.
All 3 games. And then also, there's multiple versions of Dragon's Lair too, right? There's like the enhanced version and...
Yeah, the different original revisions and 2 revisions of Dave Halleck's enhancement.
Right.
And all that.
So potentially you might have like 5-6 games to play on this.
Yeah.
On one cabinet using the Dexter plus the Merlin.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. And it works. I mean, it works today with Merlin 1000. The problem is you have to manually switch disk images, which
Oh, you do?
isn't hard to do, but
Okay, because I was wondering about that. So you have to
so it's-
manually swap the micro SD card?
you can plug in a different USB and it reconfigures the SD card that's on it, or you could have multiple SD cards.
I see. Okay.
That's today, but like I said, both of them are actively working on full support. So you'll have a menu-driven way to select the game, and Dexter will auto switch the disk image for you.
Gotcha.
That's a very high priority. It's in the works now. I wish I could say it was done and everything's great.
Yeah.
But
Can I ask you an honest question? So we talked about Daphne earlier, right? Is there a difference between this with the original Dragon's Lair PCB in there, plus this? Is there a difference between that and compared to Daphne? Like, is one closer to the original?
Dexter is definitely closer to the original.
It is.
For
In what way?
a number of
Help me
reasons.
understand, because I'm not sure.
The main thing, well, there's several things, but one is the original sound chip. The emulated sound is pretty close if you're,
You mean the beeps and stuff?
Yeah, the little chimes and beeps and
Yeah,
beeps
okay.
and stuff. They are slightly different in Daphne just because of the way PC sound streaming works.
Yeah.
There's actually a very tiny delay, and so I can tell if the machine is a Daphne cab or not.
Okay.
Just from that.
Is that right?
So I'm not saying.
So you can walk up to a Daphne cabinet, you know it's Daphne just by the little beeps
Yeah.
and the little latency that
Yep.
might be there.
Yep. Please don't put me to the test on that. But I've definitely done it. Definitely done it. So timing-wise, Daphne is really good. I mean, the emulation is spot on for the CPU and all that. So I don't think there's a big advantage there. Video playback. This is built really to do the NTSC video playback that the original player did. So it looks a little more like the original player.
It does.
Than definitely than putting in like a PC monitor or something like that. So it's better.
So you get a little better timing with the beeps and boops, and the video quality is going to be a little more closer to the original as far as how it's outputting it, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me to play the game, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
With doing it in Daphne, it works fine.
Yes.
But if in terms of accuracy and precision,
This is it.
The original board with Dexter is going to be better.
Right. And obviously with Firefox, where there's a lot more logic on top of it, right? I mean, Firefox is basically a video game, like any one of these, but with video behind it, right? So there's a lot more going on. You can't just you're not just playing a video file.
Right.
There's a
Right. Yeah. The video in Firefox, if you just play the disc on a standard player, the video is actually chopped up into lots of little segments. And the Philips player had a kind of unique ability that it could skip up to 90 frames or about 3 seconds forward. So it has these little groups of 4 1-second segments. That's like 4 different sort of paths the game can go on depending on whether you hit something or randomly they want to give you one target versus another or whatever. It's tricky to do from like an MPEG player on a PC or that kind of thing. You really need something that deals at the frame or the field level and can make those skips seamless.
and this thing can do it.
Yeah.
In combination with the original hardware.
Yeah, and that was a problem. There is a conversion card called LaserAce, made about 15 years ago now.
Right.
That could connect some newer Pioneer players to a Firefox, but those players just didn't have that instant skipping. So you see little dropouts or little pauses in the video, but you don't get that.
You don't get that with this.
This is as seamless as the original Philips, I would say.
Awesome. So can we see it work?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Do you want to go in the garage right now and hook it up to my Firefox, or do you want to demo that Firefox thing we were talking about? Do you want to show this how it skips everything, the frames on the player? Let's do that. Let's hook it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up to this little DVD player here with an LCD display, just to kind of show what it's like. What he's going to do here is basically demonstrate what it's like if you put a Firefox LaserDisc inside of a player. It'll just start playing all the tracks, right? In the maniacal order that.
And the editing, you see the multiple paths overlapping on each other. It gets kind of crazy.
And so what you're going to see here is basically what's on the LaserDisc and in what order it is on the LaserDisc. And the game is basically selecting which one of those little second tracks to play at any given time, right?
Right.
Based on what's happening in the game or the track.
Every second or two, it's giving the game is giving the player a new command saying, skip to this frame, skip to this frame. And the timing is very tight for that.
And that's a lot more. It's selecting tracks more often in Firefox, like compared to Dragon's Lair, right? I mean, Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair, for the most part, it just starts a scene and then
just sits there for seconds.
Through.
Right.
It keeps track of where it is. But it doesn't move it around.
Right.
The original PR7820 that the original Dragon's Lair cabinet had was very slow to search.
It was.
So they just, they wanted to do a lot of interactive things with it. They just couldn't.
They couldn't. So right now, we're seeing the Firefox screen, and this is what the original LaserDisc does when you put it in a player. It stays on this screen for a minute or so.
Yeah.
And then it starts going through the tracks.
There's like a minute or so of this on the disc, and then it comes to the.
So this track is literally just 1 minute of this.
Yeah, and there's another 10 minutes or so of it at the end.
Is that right? Why do you think they did that? Do you know?
you get half an hour on a side. You might as well fill it up.
Oh, I see. So in the game, they might only play like 10 seconds of this and then skip to the next track, right?
I don't know if you ever actually see that in the.
Oh, is that right?
Or not. It's just.
Oh,
it's
just filler, maybe, huh?
Yeah, they put some interesting things on the discs sometimes.
Right. So these are instructions. This is stuff that you would see in the attract mode, right?
Right. So now the attract mode is in kind of two paths. I don't know why they decided to do it this way.
Yep.
But one path is showing clips from the movie. The other path is showing the instructions. And I think in the actual game, it plays through one and then it goes back and plays through the other.
I see. So in this, 3 minutes of time, it might play through that several times, but on different paths, right?
Yeah. When you get to the actual game, which this will finish in a minute, but the actual game is broken into like little 1 second chunks.
And it just keeps
4 of them.
It hangs out in that area, just playing the different paths or rows of that video, right?
Right.
It's kind of abstract, but once you get your head around it, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And do you like Firefox, by the way?
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's kind of funny.
Is it?
I'm one of the few people that saw this game back in the day. You remember you weren't around here back then. There was a arcade called the Dream Machine, and they got this game in probably 1983 or 84.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it. I played it. I thought, oh, that's kind of neat. I went back 2 weeks later, and it was broken. And then I went back 2 weeks later, and it was gone.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It just vanished.
I think that was pretty much standard for this for this game. This is one of the ones that killed.
See, I have such fond memories of the movie as a kid, and I definitely remember playing the game in Chicago. So right now, it's interesting that we're seeing the plane, which really, when you're playing the game, it's not in the video. The CPU's generating the plane, right?
It generates some of them. It generates the little targets and things.
Oh, it does.
But the actual sort of large objects, those are
on video.
They're computer generated, but they're on the disc.
No kidding.
So it's it's higher quality than they could do in real time with the graphics.
Oh.
Hardware. 30 years later, it's a little harder to notice that they could do this with CGI, but they couldn't do it in the real time hardware. But you can see now it's split up into a number of segments. And in one path you'll hit the plane, in the other path you won't.
I see.
So that's how it can show explosions when you hit it and not show explosions when you don't.
Yeah, it's like a choose your own adventure almost. It's like when you're at this point, if you push down, play the crash video, right? If you push up, don't. Is that kind of what it's doing essentially?
Yeah, I think it mostly randomly chooses targets and shows you an explosion or doesn't show you an explosion. I think that's mostly what they do with it. I haven't examined it.
And then if you put the crosshair on the virtual target and fire, then it shows you the explosion, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah,
I gotta remember how it plays. Yeah.
You actually get to see it.
Hopefully.
So let's try that.
All right, well, why don't we go to the garage then, and let's hook up Dexter to my Firefox and see how this thing works, Warren.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go to the garage. All right, guys, we're in the garage, and Warren, here's my Firefox. What do you think?
It's beautiful.
Isn't it?
I've never seen one this nice.
Is that right?
No.
It is actually. I mean, now that I see it, it's like, I gotta get this thing in the basement. It looks so great. I love this cabinet. Like, I have the iRobot too. His brother. They would look pretty good next to each other. So, all right. So right now I have the LaserDisc player removed because Franz is trying to fix it for me. And so here's the original connectors to the LaserDisc player, right? Which is what, the video and audio out, and the what is this connector here? Actually, this is the video. And then this is audio, is that right?
Yep, audio, video, and control. And
then power. And then on the game PCB, there's a BNC out, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to plug that in there. I mean, normally that snakes down through the cabinet.
It does, yeah. I disconnected it when I was testing. Okay, so to plug in the Dexter, you just need to plug the BNC cable into it, is that right?
So you literally just plug in the video.
Okay.
Plug in the audio.
And is there a left and a right, or does it matter?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
As far as I know, there's nothing directional in the audio.
Oh, you think it's mono the whole time? Just two channels?
It's got a little bit of separation, I think. But,
okay.
But things don't like move across.
Right. So left and right doesn't really matter.
Actually, that one's got an LI.
Oh, it does. Okay. And what we need power. I take it.
Actually, no. We can try it. There's an AC.
Oh, I see. So the device has a wall wart, a little.
Yeah, it's a little 5-volt wall wart.
Okay. And so we're plugging it right into the power where the player would have got power.
Right.
So far so good. So tell me though, what was done to this prior to? So you're installing this. It's already set up for Firefox, right? Okay, because you knew that we were going to be testing it in a Firefox. So when you order this, do you specify the game and then he'll set up the SD card for you? Because he sells a legit like Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. And by the way, this is all above board. So if you want the Dragon's Lair or Space Ace images, you're getting a license from him. From the creator and the license owner.
Right. He was able to get a licensing deal with Digital Leisure for all of the Bluth games and Thayer's Quest and the ALG. Right.
And so when you order this, you say, I want Dragon's Lair, I want Space Ace, and he basically sets it up for that game for you, right?
Right. You get a USB stick that has those games on it.
Okay.
There's a program called Dexter Manager that lets you basically say which one you want to make the active game, and you plug it into the Dexter board, and if there's new video files, it copies those over. Otherwise, it just configures it for whichever game you want to run.
So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
That's if you have more than one game.
Right.
And you want
the part we want to automate for Merlin, so you don't have to reconfigure.
Okay. But if I were just ordering this and I said, hey, I only need it for Dragon's Lair, and that's it, and you buy the Dragon's Lair image, and he sets up the SD card, and so when you get the board in the mail, you don't have to do anything. You just plug it in, and that's it. It will work, right? Because he'll set it up for Dragon's Lair. The only time you need to get involved in setting things up with the SD card is when you're moving it from game to game. Is that my understanding?
Right.
Okay, cool. So right now it's all set up for Firefox, which is how Sean would have sent it to me. I mean, Matt would have sent it to me if I ordered it for Firefox.
Actually, for Firefox,
yes,
we can't distribute the video for that.
Okay.
I mean, it's an interesting question. I mean, to me, this is about restoration. This is about you already own the game.
Yeah.
You should be entitled to
I have 2 Firefox LaserDiscs.
Right. But you know, we have to be careful about that. So
Yeah, I understand completely.
We're sort of considering them those games as user supplied.
Right, right.
And, you know, it's
And the files are, I imagine, are out there though. If you Google
so
like Firefox LaserDisc image, you'll find it.
It's going to be like finding stuff.
And is it like an MPEG file? Is that what people are looking for?
No, it's called an LDIMG.
Oh, it is.
Which is it's a custom format that more or less uses like JPEG stills.
Okay.
For all of the frames, so it can blast them out individually.
So it's LDIMG.
LDIMG.
LaserDisc image.
Yes.
Okay, I just learned something. So if you had Daphne and stuff, that's what the kind of files you're looking for is LDIMGs.
Actually, Daphne doesn't support those yet.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
There's some unreleased code
I see.
for doing that. I don't know when that's going to see the light of day.
So anyway, end of the day, Dexter is playing LDIMG files.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. And you guys know what to do with that information. Okay. All right. So, all right, are we all hooked up?
Yes, we are. There's only one thing we might have to do, but let's try it without it.
Okay.
Firefox has on its video board, there's an adjustment for the color frequency of the video signal coming in, and it's a very touchy adjustment. And we found sometimes you have to nudge
just tweak it a little bit,
trimmer cap a little bit. But if it comes up all rainbows, then we'll know that we need to change that.
Okay, so I'm gonna plug it in, and I haven't turned this on in a while. What's that? Uh-oh.
What's going on?
So what do you think that is? My game?
Yeah, I do, but let's unplug this just to see.
Oh, it stopped. Now look at it's the screen says Firefox game over now.
You know what it is? I think this
The game's working.
this little power supply thing is
The power cord?
is rather touchy.
Okay, we just plugged it into another outlet because the outlet that was down there was a little flaky, we think. So let's see. Okay, so we're getting the rainbow colors. We see the video. Is this the adjustment you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So it's playing. Does it look correct aside from the colors?
Yeah, I believe it's doing what it's supposed to do.
And so there's an adjustment on the video board that, I guess, tones down that rainbow effect.
Yeah, it's
Now let me ask you a question. If I decide to use the original LaserDisc player, which is an option for me, am I going to have to undo what you're about to do?
you might and you might not.
Okay.
It's a touchy adjustment, but it might be still close enough.
Okay.
For the original player, but I'll let you see exactly what.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
doing. So it's
All right, so we're pulling the board out.
yeah, it's actually this side you need.
It's on that side?
It is this trimmer cap right here.
That guy, huh?
Yeah.
And do you need a little tiny screwdriver, or can you do?
Actually, a thumbnail works perfectly for this, but I can't see the screen.
Okay.
So you can tell me what.
Go ahead.
It's either going to get better or worse if I do.
It's getting better. It looks good. What do you think? It's a little desaturated, or is that just how it's supposed to look?
Yeah, there's not a lot of color there.
Maybe turn it the other way a little bit?
Yeah, let's give that a try.
Hang on, there's no video playing right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, it has the rainbow effect.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you when it's gone. Stop. Here, look at it. Tell me if you think that looks normal. I think it has a little bit of it, doesn't it?
It doesn't have a lot of blue for some reason.
Could it be my monitor? All right, just FYI, we found out the monitor does have blue because when we put it in test, there's a blue screen. Problem is, though, my service switch is broken, so we can't advance it through any kind of menu. We're thinking it might be missing the green color, actually. I tried adjusting the pots, and they're all glued down in a major way. So I need to either break this glue or something, but just to see if I can get green to show up on the screen. But they glued these pots, and this is an Amplifone raster monitor, which doesn't have a very good reputation. It's actually a miracle it's working right now, I think. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's nice to see an all-original Ampliphone like that.
Yeah, I know, because these things
good luck
always
with it.
die and then they just throw it in the garbage.
I wish you luck with it.
It's lasted this long. So right now we pulled the board out. We're trying to see if there's any kind of color pots on the board, but I'm going to probably break the glue on the neck here and see if I can adjust the pots on the monitor itself.
I've got a board set in the car if you want to try it.
Oh, it's up to you.
Let's just try it and see what it looks like.
Okay, we're going to plug his board set in and just see if we get different results. All right, real quick here. We actually installed another PCB in here, and we're still having the color issues. So the problem's not my PCB. We think it's the monitor. And so we had the test bars up on the monitor, and he actually has reference test bars from the internet, and we see how it's supposed to look. And my colors are clearly off. And what's funny is the Ampliphone has like a gazillion pots on the neck board, and they're nonsensical and not labeled. So right now we're pulling up the manual, trying to figure out which pots do what to adjust the colors. You guys can see. And for whatever reason, they used a ton of glue on this. The pots, we couldn't move them at all, so we had to actually remove the neck board. I had to cut all the glue with an X-Acto blade. So anyway, we're going to adjust the colors, using these pots. I'm assuming, there's red and green drive, and then the other ones are RGB, but, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 6 pots. So there's actually 7 pots on the neck board, so we don't know what's what. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we're going to pull the manual up and adjust them and hopefully get our colors right and then actually play the game. So we'll be right back. Guys, we've been playing around with the monitor here for a good half hour, right? And there's a lot of variables here because there's color adjustments on the monitor, and there's color adjustments and tint adjustments on the video board on the game itself, right? And it's kind of a little balancing act trying to get the colors all right. And we did put up a test screen, which, by the way, is generated, I didn't realize this initially, it's generated from the video disc or the video file, and you're using that to adjust the colors, but, and then the Ampliphone has like 7 pots, it's just a mess, and then there's a gazillion pots on the board. Anyway, we messed with it for a half hour, we could mess with it for probably 2 more hours, but I think we got it pretty close. Would you agree, Warren?
Yeah, I think it's
in the ballpark,
yeah.
Right? And all of our colors are present. This is supposed to be brown. We should actually spin the game a little bit. We have a massive glare. Hang on. Okay, we got the game rotated here. There's no glare now. So Warren, here it is. It's playing. Dexter is doing its thing, right? And so the game is telling it to play these video files, and the game's also putting its CPU-generated graphics over it, right?
Right.
Okay. And does this look? Are we in the ballpark? It looks pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the colors are about right. There's always more you can adjust.
Right.
A little bit.
Like I said, we could be here for another hour trying to get this thing dead nuts on. But I think it looks pretty good. It's funny, like, it feels like a LaserDisc or something old, the video quality, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So this was ripped off of, and this right here, the Atari logo, that's from the LaserDisc, right?
Right, that's on the disc,
And so someone ripped this from a player analog-ish?
Yeah, it's an analog video from the LaserDisc.
Right.
You capture it, you convert it into some sort of file so you can display it.
And what's interesting too is LaserDisc were analog. It's not digital, right?
Yeah, that's the thing with LaserDiscs. Everybody thinks, well, why don't you just rip them and be done with it?
Right.
It's not that simple. It's an analog technology. The NTSC standard that they're based on is famously known as never twice the same color. So
right.
it's hard to get an exact.
Right. And this here is blown out. Is that part of the video, you think? We're on the Firefox logo? Did you notice that? Is that just a gradient they're trying to recreate in the video?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, let's give it a shot. I have to tell you the truth. I haven't played this game since I was about 10 years old. I played it in the garage after I got it, but I really didn't know what I was doing, and not seeing the video, I really didn't know what I was doing. So it'll be interesting to Are you good at this game?
No, I'm terrible at it.
Oh, you are?
Boy, is this a machine.
All right, so I'm coining it up here, and let's just turn the volume down a little bit. All right, so it says select a mission.
Homing device attached.
So should I do easy?
Yeah.
And what we just saw there was from the LaserDisc, right? It's kind of slick what they did here.
Visibility again.
All right, so what do I do?
Shoot stuff.
Just shoot stuff?
Second tire mark.
And can I shoot the virtual planes that are being played by the video?
Yes, you can. And when you hit them, you'll see the explosion. Remember the tracks we were looking at?
Yeah.
Before? It just jumps.
Where should I go?
Invisibility.
Oh, I guess. What did I do? I could have picked 2 different ways there, right?
Yeah, it'll take you either down or either around.
So I have a secondary fire, which is some sort of a missile. Is that right?
I think they're all the same. Well,
No. Yeah.
Shows you how much I know about the game. So, I know that these radar signals come up periodically, and you have to shoot them with a
Observe
or
tags
something.
now.
You get penalized if you don't. But other than that, it's basically shoot stuff.
Uh-oh, am I crashing?
Yeah, you're in
I ran out of fuel.
as you get hit by things, your fuel goes down.
The best there is.
So I think our colors are not quite right.
No, that red is a little orange. But
Yeah. That orange, that's supposed to be more of a red
yeah,
color.
it's a red background in the score box, the initials box.
All right, I want to play this again. I think it's neat that this screen right here is video, and it really doesn't seem like it. You know?
Yeah, again, it's that instant skipping that.
Yeah.
Him picking up infrared detection beams.
So
Now
what-
they locked on.
Avoid detection.
Invisibility
I was
again.
detected by radar, it said.
Yeah, so you
Oh, I see. So when I was taking off, there was a radar that I was supposed to destroy right away. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, that's why they weren't coming up, because you got detected right away.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. All right, let's go. We went sky. Whoops.
My main complaint with this game is that it ends pretty quickly no matter what you do.
Oh, really? What do you mean? If you're good, it doesn't matter?
Yeah, the mission ends after like 5 or 10 minutes. And that's it.
Oh, really? I don't want to hear that. Wait, so if let's go to ground.
Take her down.
So if I want to get the world record on this, is it possible?
I'm sure that there's some theoretical maximum number of points you can get in that amount
Yeah.
of time, but
Observe tags now. Polar packs in sight.
never say never. in this game.
Right. Uh-oh, what's happening? I liked my gloves. I had cool gloves on. Is this supposed to save initials, by the way?
I think this does have a NVRAM chip
Does it?
for it. I don't know if it still works or not.
Yeah.
They weren't very reliable. But
All right.
I think someone's got a repro kit for that too.
Well, that was exciting. I mean, I got to play my Firefox. Obviously, everything's working about it. So the question is I'm supposed to be getting my LaserDisc player back from Franz, right? Well, I'm hopeful to have that working, but I think I'm going to be ordering one of these. I got to have this as a backup. I mean, it's a cool device. I mean, it really. I don't feel like I'm emulating. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But I have the sense we're playing that it feels like old stuff, even though it's not, right?
Yeah, it does. It tries very hard to emulate old stuff.
I know what I'm saying sounds ridiculous, but I didn't feel like, I just put like some, Intel i7 chip in here, and now it's running like, on 2016 technology. It still felt like the old game. The video looked like crap and stuff. That was cool, man. So, I mean, is there anything else I need to know about this if I were to get one of these?
Well, I was actually going to say,
Yeah.
good luck getting your player back. By the way. I'm sure he'll come through eventually.
Yeah.
What I would suggest, the way I think of it is use Dexter as the daily driver. And
Right.
If you actually have a working Philips,
Put it on the
that's
shelf.
like gold. Put it on the shelf.
Put it on the shelf. If I ever put this in a
every 6 months or
museum, if the Smithsonian calls and says we want to show LaserDisc technology on display, I'll pull the Philips out for that.
Yeah. But for sort of regular use, I mean, the game really does play the same. You don't have to modify the game.
Right.
And with some of the games, that's very important. Like Dragon's Lair cabinet, you can throw pretty much anything into it and rewire it however you want.
Right.
You get to some of the more complicated games, they've got very unique controls like the Firefox yoke. You can't just easily plug that into a PC. There are ways to do it. But,
Right. It's just not the same, though.
Right. And then you get down to the games like Star Rider, which have these very sophisticated.
I love that.
steering controls.
I've never played that game, but I like the idea of it. I saw one when I was in California, and the cabinet is so crazy cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a game that really got destroyed big time, I think. I don't think there's many of those at all, Star Riders.
No, that used a very unique player. It's the only game that uses it. It's very hard to come by.
Yeah.
The rest of the game wasn't terribly reliable, but the player is still the the weak part.
Right, and so that this thing will get Star Riders working and Mach 3s and...
Star Rider, we have about 90% working right now.
Was there something unique about Star Rider?
Yeah, it's...
besides the player itself, or just how it handled it?
There's a large number of boards in it with a lot of wiring.
Oh, really?
Actually, there was one thing that was unique. It used a video expander board.
Okay.
So, and this kind of made it feel a little more interactive.
Yep.
Instead of just showing you the whole image on the screen the whole time, it would sort of zoom in on the image.
Oh, yeah.
And as you moved the steering,
the panning
it would
effect.
pan side to side.
That's right.
It was some pretty sophisticated technology for the time to digitize the incoming video and have a sort of sliding window that it could display it. And it only did it for part of the screen. It didn't do it for the whole screen.
Right.
So it was, the engineers put a lot of tricks into it, but unfortunately, in practice, the hardware just didn't keep up.
Yep. Well, Warren, this is a very exciting product. If you guys want to order one, go to, what was it, LaserDisc-replacement.com?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
LaserDisc, one word, -replacement.com. And guys, stay on the video here. When we go to the basement, I'll tell you guys how you can get $20 off on one of these, because Matt and Warren gave me some codes, some limited use codes, and I'll explain to you guys how to win those here in a little bit. But go on there. You can order the thing at LaserDisc-replacement.com. You can order the unit. You can order all the different image sets like Dragon's Lair and Space Ace and stuff like that. And it's a drop-in replacement, and it worked actually really well in Firefox. I mean, once we got the colors adjusted, I mean, it wasn't the device's fault. You know, the thing was just out of whack. And I don't know why they glued that stuff down. That made it even harder to do. So anyway,
They just throw it out when it stops working.
right. Is that what it was? Yeah, it's a miracle that monitor's even working. So, all right, Warren. Well, I think that's it, right? Anything else you want to add?
So, no, I think we're good.
Okay. Well,
Thank
hey,
you very much. It was
thanks for
great to
coming
meet you.
by. That was totally cool, man. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, how cool is it we had a guy that made the thing come here? So, thanks, Warren.
Great, no problem.
All right, guys, let's go back down to the basement. All right, guys, there you have it. That was the Dexter LaserDisc Replacement board working. Yes, working in my Atari Firefox. That was pretty exciting, right? I mean, I got to see my Firefox working, which I've never seen before because I've been waiting forever for Franz to fix my original Philips player. But anyway, Warren, thank you for coming over and demoing that prototype. That was very exciting. It really was, because, you know, I've had that Firefox for a while, and it's just been sitting out there, and I'm like, oh, I want to play that game. so that was fun for me to at least experience Firefox. Anyway, you know, I think I'm going to buy one of those boards. If you guys want one, you can go to LaserDisc-replacement.com. LaserDisc-replacement.com. Now, I'm going to tell you, the board is not cheap. It's $359, okay? And that's just for the board itself. They are taking pre-orders till the end of February 2016. So if you want one, you got to order now. Now, here's what we're going to do. These guys told me that I can give you guys $20 off, okay? But they gave me 20 coupon codes, okay? And they're one-time use codes. So if you want one of these and you want to get 20 bucks off, you got to email me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com, blkdog7@gmail.com. We're going to do it just like this, okay? In the subject line, put Dexter. All right, send me an email and say you want a coupon code. But listen, guys, I only have 20 of these, okay? And they're one-time use. Please don't email me unless you're really going to use the code. Don't waste the code. Let someone who's going to use it, okay? So if you want 20 bucks off, email me, blackdog7@gmail.com, blkdog7@gmail.com. And subject line, put Dexter. The first 20 people that email me, I'll send you back a code for 20 bucks off. And by the way, so the games, you can also get images, right? So he's got the Dragon's Lair trilogy. And so he'll load up all, you know, Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Dragon's Lair 2 on the SD card. And that's going to become important later when Merlin is updated to support all three of those ROM sets and the Dexter. You'll basically have an on-screen switchable multi-Dragon's Lair, which is going to be super cool. And if you guys didn't know, Dragon's Lair 2 was recently added to Merlin. So if you have an older version like I do, you can get a ROM update, and now you can install the Dragon's Lair 2 LaserDisc in there and play that newer game, because Dragon's Lair 2 came out, like, I think 10 years after the original Dragon's Lair, so it's the hardware platform is way different, so that's super exciting. But I printed out the list of images that they can load up for you. The cost on the images are about anywhere from $10 to $30. Actually, no, 10 to 20, depending on the image. Like, Dragon's Lair's $20. If you want the trilogy, it's 40. And it looks like you get Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Dragon's Lair 2. That's not bad. You know, you're getting legit legal versions. They have Mad Dog McCree, Mad Dog 2, Last Bounty Hunter, Crime Patrol 2, Who Shot Johnny Rock, Fast Draw Showdown, Space Pirates, Time Traveler, Thayer's Quest, Bally Midway, Astron Belt, Badlands, Cliffhanger, Cobra Command, Firefox, Galaxy Ranger, Gallagher's Gallery, Gold to Go, Super Don Quixote, and Us Versus Them. And all LaserDisc images that they distribute are fully licensed. So this is all above board, which I like. So anyway, if you guys want to get one of those devices, go to LaserDisc-replacement.com. I'll have a link below. And of course, if you want $20 off, email me, blkdog7@gmail.com. Subject line, put Dexter, and I'll send you guys a coupon code. I think John is going to get one of those just to have it. You know, the thing is that this is the type of thing that you missed the pre-order, and they never do it again, and then you're like a year or two later, or 5 years from now, you get that game and you wish you had one of these boards, and then some guy in Clov is selling it for $600 and it sells like instantly. And this is what happens with this type of stuff. Like, I saw it happen with the Williams J-Rock. You know, I've been in the hobby long enough that I've gotten to see stuff come and go. Like the Laser Ace, which was like a card just like the Merlin that would allow me to play a newer or different version, a different LaserDisc player in Firefox. That card is worth a fortune now because the guy made those like one time, they sold out, and that's it. So I think this board is going to become one of those things. So if you think you're ever going to be a laser guy, I would probably pick one up. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So anyway, Warren, thanks for coming over. I mean, that was super cool, right? I mean, I had one of the guys involved with Daphne and one of the guys involved in creating Dexter here in the basement in the garage and demoing the unit. So that was super cool. So thanks to Warren, and also to Matt Omby for helping set this up, because that was pretty neat and fun. So anyway, okay, let's move on. Let's do some viewer mail. If you guys want to participate in the viewer mail, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, you got to put viewer mail, 2 words. Otherwise, I will not find them, because I search in there by subject line. All right. Excuse me. First one's from Jason Wheeler. Hi, John. I was watching your year-end video. You said you wanted a Donkey Kong Cabaret. I mean, I seen one on eBay. It's in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. The item number is blah, blah, blah. I just thought I'd let you know. Great year-end video. Great year-end video, man. Take some time and relax. Your friend, Jason. You know, Jason, I actually went and looked at this auction that you linked me to. Yes, it was a Donkey Kong Cabaret. And yes, it was in amazing shape. It was beautiful. It was like, wow, that's what I want. I want that for upstairs, because I really want to put a Donkey Kong Cabaret upstairs next to my Centipede, because Donkey Kong's my favorite game. That's why. And I know I have one already, but anyway. So Jason, I looked at that thing and I was so excited because it looked really nice, but man, it was expensive. It was like $1,500 or $1,800. I can't spend that much on a Donkey Kong Cabaret, so I don't know. I thought I'd print this and just acknowledge that I let you know that I did look at it, but it was really expensive, but it was super nice, man. So I don't know, if you guys know of a Donkey Kong Cabaret out there, let me know, because I really want one. I would love to be in the $500 range, and maybe it would require some work or something, but I really don't want to spend that much money on a Donkey Kong Cabaret, although I know if I had one that was mint, I'd probably want the same amount, but I don't know. You know, we always want to buy low and sell high, right? Anyway, moving on here. This one, next one here is from Mark, aka Magic Mark on Cloth. John, I really appreciate what you do for the hobby. You are a great source of the info for those of us devoted to restoring games. I'm going to try to move mountains to get to Brofest this year, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you and the Outsiders. He says, please don't burn yourself out with all the new stuff you've been getting into. John sucks at video games, CACs, etc. I'll happily consume every video and podcast you throw at us, but I hope that no matter what, the John's Arcade videos never go away. The main purpose of my email is just to echo the requests you've been getting for a MAME build. I've always tried to restore games back to their original glory, but due to space limitations, I'm at peak capacity and have been trying various multi-game boards. So far, I've been very disappointed. I think MAME might be a better option. So what do you say? Imagine a generic cab with your own custom artwork. Could even sell the John's Arcade marquee bezel and CPO designs to raise some money for other projects. Thanks, Mark Zodi. Mark, don't worry about, yeah, I know I'm doing other stuff. I started another YouTube channel called John Sucks at Video Games, but listen, this channel is number one priority, period, okay? So that YouTube channel over there is just for fun. I don't consider there to be any kind of a schedule for that channel, so when I have time to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm trying to balance everything with the podcast and this, and the events, CAX is going to be fun. And just so you guys know, we're doing 3 events this year. We're going to be doing CAX, which is California Extreme, in July. We're going to be there this Saturday doing an official tournament at the event. And, yeah, Joe, Sean, and myself will be at California Extreme, which is like July 15th or something. And then we have BroFest, which is our tournament at Fun Spot. That's the one you really want to make. That's June 2nd and 3rd, which I think is Friday and Saturday. It's either the 3rd or the 4th or 2nd or the 3rd. It's the first weekend, the first Friday and Saturday in June. And that's going to be an official Fun Spot tournament. We have a hotel that you can book at NASWA, NASWA.com. Call there and tell them you want the BroFest deal, and you'll get a discount. And then, of course, we're doing the Grinkers tournament, which is like October 13th or something like that. So, yeah, there's going to be 3 events this year. I think I can handle that. So I'm hoping that you guys can. You can make all 3 events, because we're going to have the trifecta t-shirt and stuff. So if you can make all 3 events, you will be rewarded with some kind of trophy, a t-shirt or something. We haven't figured it out yet. And as far as the main build goes, yeah, I know. I want to do one of those. We're going to do it. I've been looking on Craigslist for a junk cabinet, preferably some kind of weird poker machine that I can turn into a little horizontal MAME machine, and I think that would be fun. So we're going to do that, and it'd be fun for me because I think I'd want to use Hyperspin, because I've never really used that before, and it'd be kind of fun to figure all that out. So anyway, yes, we will do a MAME. I would try to do that this year. Okay, next one's from Chaz. John, I thought I would send something in as a viewer mail. Man, I just have to say I love your channel. I run a print company, and I play your videos every day on the loudspeakers in the back printing room we have. The workers hate me, but it's funny to see them talk about arcade games here and there. I watch a lot as well when I can. When I bought my first few games, I was curious as to whom I could follow to learn more about the hobby. You are seriously an inspiration. I've learned so much and put what I've learned to good use. I'm now at 26 arcade games. Wow, that's a lot, and still going, restoring as I go. One thing you got me hooked on is just having fun and documenting the experience. I created a Facebook page and a YouTube channel to document everything I do, and I share it with whomever would be interested. Chez Arcade is the name, which is CHEZ Arcade. As Chez was always a weird nickname and sounded funny from my normal name, Chaz. Anyway, keep doing awesome. I can't wait to see what more the future has in store for you and your channel. Sincerely from a huge fan. Well, awesome, Chaz, and thank you. And yeah, so guys, go check out his YouTube and Facebook channel. It's CHEZarcade.com, and 26 games, dude, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of games. I mean, we got, what, 35, 36 down here, so 26 is a lot, man. I mean, 36 is a lot, and 26 is not that far from that, so great collection, Chaz. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you guys want to get 20 bucks off on the Dexter, email me, blkdog7@gmail.com. Subject line, put Dexter, and of course you can order those at LaserDisc-Replacement.com. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Now, I have another video already recorded. I did one with Adam. I'm going to release that, I think, on Wednesday or so, maybe Thursday. And then also, I know we have to work on computer space, but this stuff just kind of came up, and I wanted to do the Dexter thing badly because I really believe in the product. So we did that today, and Warren was able to come over this weekend, so I had to do it. So, and then I also picked up a game with Adam yesterday, actually. So we'll get to the computer space, I think, next weekend. That's the plan. And I still want to do the Donkey Kong high score internet save thing, so there's no shortage of stuff to do here. So anyway, guys, subscribe to the channel. I release new videos on Sundays and sometimes in between. Send viewer mail to blkdog7@gmail.com. Subject line, put viewer mail. Of course, check out my other YouTube channel at John Sucks at Video Games, and my 2 podcasts, Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com and Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you very soon. Later and bye.